Welcome back to Student Hub Live. Well, this session is all about support from your associate lecturers, but we have some business to address first. So I think we'll look at some more study spaces you fabulous people have been sending in to us. And then I'm going to go to HJ and see what's going down on the hot desk. So Sarah has sent a picture in from Rutland. Now, she has a lovely study space. It's just been redone and it gives her so much happiness and productivity. She can't wait to start her degree. So that's a very, very beautiful study space there. Andressa from Dubai has turned her guest room into a study space with lots and lots of natural light. And can't you just see that beaming in on that lovely, organised, tidy desk? Sarah from Tyne and Wear has a space for both full-time work and also part-time study. So she's got the laptop for work and the computer for studying. And it's a corner of a small double bedroom. The desk on the right slides into the corner when she's not working, so she has more space. Sarah's a 50-year-old student working in her bedroom. She also has a dream board on the wall, which has a goal of obtaining an undergraduate degree. The word of the year is trust. Trust I can do this. So many people feel unconfident, but I think you absolutely can. One foot in front of the other and keep reaching out for support. Dominica in West Sussex is starting a psychology degree, and this is her study space. She's starting with an introduction to social sciences and understanding social lives. That'll be the wonderful DD 102. She's super excited and she likes her space to be cleared up, as many things around her make her distracted really easily. And clear space outside, clear space inside works for her. And Sarah, Sarah from Devon has a wonderful study space. Now, it's Sarah's birthday today.
Happy birthday!
Yay! I'm not sure whether that was when she sent it in or not, but Sarah, you do deserve a happy birthday. So it's nice to be included in something positive. And Abigail from South Yorkshire is currently doing a BSc combined STEM. She loves the freshers orientation. It's her cozy study space. Oh, nice guitar there. She's a record nerd, and on study breaks, she jams out to some classic Taylor Swift, and playing music really helps set her mind after studying hard. And let's leave now with Jodie, who says, my bed will have to do. It's very nice and snug as well, and nice highlighters too. So some lovely things there. We will come back to the rest of those. If you would like your space shown and you haven't already sent it in, studenthub@open.ac.uk, and we'll take a look at those later. HJ, I understand that Kate has a question about the quiz.
Yeah, I know Katie and a lot of other people are very excited for our quiz. So we know there's going to be two teams from Wales and Ireland playing, and they are pre-picked teams. So Katie wanted to know who decides the team. But the good thing, Katie, is that you are part of the best team, which is Team Home. So we'll all work together and see if we can beat the teams in that are on our screens. But I know with all the topics that we're studying and all the smarts at home, we'll do really well on the quiz. I may need some support myself, though, because I'm only good at a few things.
Well, the thing about Team Home is that while you know lots of things and seem super fast at Googling everything, there is a general lack of organisation on the scorekeeping. And I think, oh gosh, yes, I must get a board for the scores. That has been one of your downfalls, I think, in recent times, that no one can keep tabs of how many points you've got. So my advice, Team Home, is to start having a little think about how you're going to keep tabs of your own scores, because quite frankly, I find it challenging enough to keep tabs of the studio ones. But the teams are chosen, well, really, I guess by me. But we just go out and ask people like who'd like to come on our quiz. But with this lack of international sporting events, we decided that Wales versus Ireland was only right and proper. But we have lots of quizzes. So if you are interested... Yes, indeed. If you're interested in being on our quiz, then email studenthub@open.ac.uk, or even if you're interested in being in the show, like Coco, then just email us and we'll drag you along to something. We've got lots of events throughout the year. Okay, HJ, you keep everyone happy for now. We don't have long to go before the quiz. I'm going to talk to Isabella about being a tutor. So, Isabella, welcome, and let's all admire your lovely hair. I see you've made a wonderful effort today, and you too have a nice space with some fairy lights, which we all are big fans of.
Indeed,
How are you?
I'm okay, thank you. Yes, I have two cats, one of which you can just about see on the top of the box, but we decided he's a mannequin cat because he's not moving, and the other one's somewhere on top of the radiator somewhere over there. He may come and join us later. Unhelpful study buddies.
Yes, my cat's sitting right there, the white one, and the dog's trying to get it off the table. So it's quite a tense moment, but ultimately there's very little action because I think cats can just sit in that particular way, can't they, and
Yep.
not move. Poor dogs running around everywhere. Now, Isabella, tutors, as we know, are one of the key sources of support. We've heard a lot about student support teams and various other things that students can have in their studies, but many students very early on will be allocated, well, all students will be allocated a tutor, many very early on. Some may have to wait, and don't panic if that's you, if you haven't got your tutor allocated quite yet. But tutors mark the work for students, and it's a really important relationship. But many students feel worried about their tutor or don't really know how lovely and kind they all are. So I wonder if you can tell us about the main role that tutors have, and give our students a little bit of an idea about what they could expect from that relationship.
Yeah, so tutors, I remember back in the days when we used to get a paper thing and it used to say, read this first. It says, your tutor is your first contact with the university. So us as tutors, we are the allocated person to answer questions about your study, answer questions about the subject matter, the study skills going into it, and so on. And as you said, mark the work. We do run tutorials. It depends on your individual tutor how that works. And please never feel that you can't contact us, because you've got our contact details now. You'll get them. Sometimes you get an email from the university, first of all, saying this is your tutor, or on your module homepage, it will say contact your tutor, and you can do it that way. And many tutors, like myself, will email out a welcome letter, which will have contact details in as well. And usually in that welcome letter, we'll say when we're available, because we don't work 24/7. Most tutors are part-time. So if there's a particular time when we're not available, we'll let you know. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't mean you can't contact us during those times. It just means that you'll have to wait until we're working again before we reply again.
And that, I think, is the best thing about email, because you can email all your questions. I had some students who had lots of questions, and so I'd say make an email and then write all the questions on there, and then probably some will come to you by the end of the week, and you can remove those ones. But equally, sometimes I've had students say, oh, panic stations X, Y, and Z, and then 1 hour later, don't worry about it. So maybe I've been out doing something and I'm not back. So tutors work, and normally, I mean, students often ask, what's a sort of typical time? I think it's around, 48 hours is the sort of guide that they say that a tutor should get back to you. And so perhaps if they haven't after that point, you should maybe worry that either they haven't received the email and maybe send it again, or if they're really not responding, then speak to your student support team, because they may be sick and you may need a reallocation.
Or there's another quite important one, and it's really important to do when you're a new student, is to check the email address that you've given, because
Yes.
in fact, since I've sent out a couple of emails this afternoon, and I've had a thing back saying, sorry, we can't deliver to this email address. So you need to check the email address on your record that you've put, just to make sure it's actually the one that you receive email from, because as tutors, we will send out to our groups, and we have a way of sending it out, and we know that it's left our end, if that makes sense, but we can't guarantee whether you will see it. And if you're not reading that email, as I've had a number of students say to me saying, oh, well, I never look at that one. I'm like, well, that's the one I've been trying to contact you on. So it's definitely worth doing that, particularly if you do the contact your tutor method, because the way that we reply will be back to the automatic system. And also, with the nicest one in the world, check your spam folder as well, because for some reason, sometimes things go into spam through no fault of your own. So it's worth having a look there. But as you said, otherwise, if you've contacted your tutor and you haven't heard, and they haven't told you they're away, then maybe drop them another email to say, sorry, did you get this? If it's something that's urgent. Bear in mind, some tutors work evenings and weekends, some work during the day, during the week. So that's where the welcome letter and when your tutor tells you to begin with is quite important. So for instance, for myself, I don't work on Sundays. So if somebody sends me something Friday evening or Saturday, I won't see it until Monday. But that doesn't mean that I'm ignoring it. It just means I'm not working. Whereas it might be another tutor, that's the very point that they are working. And if you send it Monday morning, they won't see it until Wednesday night, that kind of thing. So that's worth thinking about as well.
Brilliant. Okay, so check your spam, check you've got the right email, and also you don't have to necessarily use your Open University email. So we've been talking a lot about this on the weekend, in fact, weren't we, with students saying, how do I get my OU email? Because this is often the key to many a discount in many of places. But it's important that you're using an email that you access a lot. So perhaps if you aren't using your OU email, you keep it elsewhere. The other thing, actually, that we were talking about on Saturday was that there is often a space in your student home where you can see the emails that are sent. So sometimes, if you're anything like me, I try and file my emails, but sometimes I just get so many. So it's great that if you think, oh, if your tutor says, well, I sent you an email about that, you could always go and look at the emails sent by us in your student homepage, and then you can see the list of all the emails that are really important there that the Open University have sent you.
Yeah, because that's the interesting thing. When we send what we call group emails, which is when we send it to the whole tutor group, they end up coming with a number on the end. We don't put that on, but the system puts it on. So we're sending an email to 20 people at the same time rather than sending lots and lots of individual ones.
Yeah.
So sometimes people go, oh, it says it's got a number, and that's obviously not relevant.
Yeah.
Or I've had students say, oh, I didn't realize it was directed to me because I've said hello everybody. I was like, well,
Yeah.
it usually is, but have a read through it and check, and if it says please respond, then it's a good idea to do so.
But they might not know who
Oh,
everybody is, though, to be fair, Isabella, because
no,
I think
this is true.
sometimes everybody could be the 176,000 OU students in the world,
Very
or
true.
it could be the 15 to 25 in one's tutor group. And so, yes, sometimes it's tricky. I used to write people's names on the emails, but then I got a bit confused.
Yeah, I tend to, as a tutor, I put a title on the email, which would make sense. So, for
Yeah.
instance, the ones that I was sending out will say, welcome to your module from your allocated
Yeah.
tutor. So therefore, you know what that would mean, that kind of thing. But yeah, I agree. There's particularly at the start of the module, there's so many things and you're thinking, well, this is somebody saying welcome, this is somebody else saying welcome. Which welcome one do I need to look at first?
Yeah. No, that can be tricky. There are lots of forums. They're often welcome forums as well. And some people may have a tutor forum. There may be a cluster forum. There may be a welcome forum. And some of this can get confusing because some people think they've got to do everything and pay attention to every forum post. Now, is that true?
No, not at all. And that's where I tend to say to my students, so our key one, if we've got a tutor group forum, that's the one I'd like you to look at. And if you're ever asked to post an activity, that's where you do. So for instance, one of my modules, SDK 100, which has started, there is a national welcome forum and it's hugely, hugely busy. There's hundreds and hundreds of messages in it and people go in and they think, oh my goodness me, I'm not going to have time to do that. But unfortunately, that's there before everybody gets allocated because it's one of the modules that opens a bit early, and that's what you might find for some of your modules. You'll get access to your module content before you get allocated to a tutor because they need to get the numbers to settle down. So most people who've got their module starting this week will have been allocated a tutor, but if you haven't received notification and you've logged into Student Home and it doesn't say your tutor's detail, it just means you're not in a group as yet. You can still carry on studying, but you can't sort of do the direct tutor contact thing as yet.
Okay, excellent. Now that's great. Now, tutors mark students' work and they also give tutorials, and some of those tutorials are in groups. But some students I know can say, oh gosh, I'm really worried about what my tutor might think, and they're very terrified about that. And tutors have heard lots and lots of things over the many years. Students, thrive in remarkable circumstances and deal with a key points of challenge. So what would you say about that feedback and that relationship, Isabella?
Well, I would say come and have a go at a tutorial. If you're worried about something, let your tutor know ahead of time. So for instance, say, please don't ask me to talk on mic because I don't really want to. I'll say that's fine. I tend in my tutorials, like we do in Student Hub Live, we can't have in the ones that we do in the online sessions, we can't have the microphones because there's too many people. So we have the chat pod and we have polling pods. So there's different interactivity options. It doesn't mean that you can't do them. Some of them are anonymous, some of them are attached to your name. And I tend to say to people, have a go. If you come and you haven't interacted anywhere, so you haven't put anything in the chat, haven't put anything in the poll, haven't done anything, then I'm probably as a tutor going to think, I'm not sure whether you can hear me. And I don't know whether you're hearing. So even if you just say, yes, I can hear you, but I'd rather not answer the questions. Okay, that's fine. But always say to your tutor ahead of time, because one of the good things about tutor-led tutorials is that they're your opportunity to ask questions. They're your opportunity to check that your understanding is what it's supposed to be. And we don't mind questions. We don't always know the answers, and we may say, hang on a minute, I'm going to go away and find out and let you know. But we don't expect you to be absolutely perfect. We expect you to come along and have a go, and just have a go, really. Think about some of the things, use it as your opportunity to go, okay, right, well, I knew the answer to that, but I didn't know the answer to that one. Okay, I'm going to go and find out a bit more.
And what about students who may be behind or feeling like perhaps everyone else is doing a lot better than them? They may not want to go to tutorials. Does that matter?
That's absolutely. I mean, tutorials are not compulsory unless you're on a professional degree program that they are that they are compulsory for. Sorry, I was trying to stumble over my words there. But that doesn't mean they're not important. They are a really good opportunity. The majority of tutorials are recorded, so you can look at them again if you don't want to be there live. And that's actually quite useful, because you could come along, or you may go, well, actually, I'm working at this point, or I'm looking after the children at this point, or something. Okay, fine, we'll have a look at the recording. Don't just go, well, that wasn't at a convenient time for me there and then, I'm just going to not look at it at all, because you're missing out on part of your study opportunities, actually. So if you are really behind, though, and that's separate to tutorials, it's a good idea to have a chat with your tutor. And we're not trying to be negative straight away, but the reality is, when we were talking about time management in our online sessions on Saturday, people are managing lots of different things. And if you've got your 20 hours a week and you've been doing all that, but you're still finding you're behind, have a chat with your tutor, who might be able to give you some hints and tips about which bits you could do quicker, which bits you might like to prioritize and do first, and then come back to the others when you've got a little bit more time.
Okay, no, that's absolutely brilliant. Now, Isabella, for those students who are just starting their modules, who may or may not have heard from their tutor, what would you say about making contact with their tutor? When are they likely to hear from them? And if they haven't, but they have their details, would you advise they get in touch with them?
It's actually very much personal choice. It can go either way. I always find it quite interesting, because I sometimes hear from students before I know I've even got a group, as I get these emails popping in saying, hi, I'm new. And I was like, oh, okay, I didn't know I had my group yet. But it depends. So some of the modules that started last Saturday, most people will have been allocated a tutor, and most tutors will have got in touch. Not all, because it depends on their working hours, and unfortunately tutors, like students, might be ill, so it might be the case that they're not available just at the start. But if you started week one of your module and you're already within week one, then it's worthwhile checking those details. If you've got a tutor that you can allocate, let me get this right. If you have an allocated tutor and you can see a bit there, it says your tutor is so-and-so on your module homepage, then you can always send them a message saying, just want to check, I haven't heard from you. Have I missed something? You could do it that way. I think we've got a question though, haven't we?
We certainly do, Isabella. HJ, what is your question?
Yeah, so Laura's got a great question. She would like to know, what's the average time for assignments to be marked, as we're always very keen to get them back?
Yeah, that's a really good question to make. So normally assignments are marked 10 working days after the deadline. However, at the moment, because of the pandemic, tutors have got 15 working days. But lots of the time it will be sooner than that, but it's a bit of a terminology thing. So the same way as students are being affected by the pandemic, so are tutors. So we've got a little bit more time. And working days are weekdays, just so that you know about that. So for instance, if your deadline's on the 1st, then you've got the first working day is the next one. You've got another one for us, haven't you? You're quick and fast with the questions.
Yeah, so Sarah's got another great question. She said, I presume you submit and then crack on with the next assignment or set of work, or do you wait for it to come back to you?
No, crack on. Definitely keep cracking on. And we always say to people, put it to bed. Do your TMA, get on with it, and then carry on and try and forget about it. I know that's really hard, and some people are just looking at their emails and they look at the page every day. Is it refreshed? Is it refreshed? But if you do that, you're going to probably miss out on some study time. So draw an own. Imagine that you've posted it off, it's gone. Don't worry about it, or try not to worry about it. I know that this is a bit difficult at times, but you've done it. Move on, carry on with your study, and then when it comes back, read through it carefully, read through the feedback, because that's something that was worth highlighting. Some students just look at the mark and go, oh, okay, carry on. But then there's usually some very valuable feedback on how you can help, and your tutor will be marking things to say, great, you've done really, really well with this. This bit wasn't quite so good, so could you do X to try and improve? And that bit, could you do X to try and improve, is the useful feedback to be using.
No, absolutely. Even if it feels like it's a criticism, often, you're not going to be perfect when you start doing anything. And so it's a case of developing and working with that feedback. And the other thing I would really stress is that if students don't understand what the tutor means, like you should be doing more of this, or it doesn't quite make sense to you, it's worth clarifying that, isn't it? So that you can actually try and make those adjustments.
Yeah, I mean, I tend to say on the bottom of what we call the assessment summary form, so you'll have the marked work and an assessment summary form which opens in the browser. I tend to always put on the bottom of that, please please get back to me if there are any questions. Some people do, and some people, and I always think it's great, they come back, right, okay, so you said this, what did you mean? If I did this in response to that, is that the right thing to do? And I'd much rather have this massive long email from somebody picking up all the points and saying, how can I improve, how can I improve, than somebody just going, oh, I'm not going to read it and it's upset me, so I'm not going to carry on. I'd much rather engage with students to help them improve, because that's really the key thing. So how's Coco
Look,
going to improve on her next assignment then?
she's
That's the
going to
question.
stop chasing the cat, and I think that's the main one, actually. She's adamant. She's going to go for it all over the house. Yes, but Isabella, that's been absolutely wonderful. We need to get ready for our quiz now. Coco's very excited. It's nearly dinner time, which is always a key point in any dog's day. And Katrina wants to know if the quiz has a QI style scoring system, which is complicated and whimsical. Well, Katrina, you must have come before, because we certainly do, don't we, HJ?
Sorry, I've been so enthralled in all the great questions. And
you're going to sleep. You're going to sleep. I know it's been a long day. Yeah, Katrina, it does, because Dave Rothery, who is our quiz master and professor of planetary geosciences, is the toughest quiz master, I think, on the planet, or even the universe. Actually, he probably won't mind me saying that. But yes, he does change the rules a lot. So this is why it's even more important to be mindful, because the amount of points do change as the various teams progress or do not progress. So it's going to be really, really good. He is a firm but fair quizmaster, or firm and fair, or something like that. But anyway, we are very, very excited about Wales versus Ireland. So we're going to be starting to play that. Yeah, it could be firm or fickle, actually, come to think of it. But we are going to play the quiz at 6 o'clock. So you can grab a cup of tea, have a quick break, and then join us for our multi-choice quiz. It's going to be heaps and heaps of fun, and you can meet some more of my wonderful colleagues in the nation's offices then. So see you very, very soon. I'm going to go and give Coco her day.